Yes, I'm back. Okay, so we are going to add our similes to this writing piece. I'm going to kind of give you an example of how you would do that and what you're looking for. So again, you're looking for either a feeling to describe in more detail, an action to describe in more detail, or possibly a thing, like a person, place, or thing, a noun. Okay, so an item. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this and just try to figure out maybe where we could add one of these things. Okay. What would you do if you saw clones of yourself in different stages? As I walked onto the train, I was very confused. Well, confused is a feeling. Okay, so we could actually take a minute to describe that feeling in a little bit more detail. I was as confused as what? I was as confused as a, what's something that's confusing? Um, a girl waking up from a nightmare. Okay, from a dream. We'll just say a dream. Because I don't think that we're trying to describe a nightmare here. You really have to think about what you're trying to describe in this writing piece. Okay, so I just added this. I was as confused as a girl waking up from a dream. That really describes this moment because she's walking in to the train and something strange is happening. And so it really does feel kind of like a dream. So what you pick to compare it to really makes a difference. You don't want to compare it to, I don't know, somebody waking up from the hospital, right? Because that doesn't describe the feeling of this moment. Okay, a dream and waking up from a dream really describes that. So really try to pick something that kind of matches what you're writing about and kind of gets across to your reader how this feeling felt. Okay, all right. So we just added this. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in red. That's our simile. And then I was as confused. I'll highlight that as well. And let's go ahead. I just did a feeling. So now let's try to find an object that we can make a simile with. Okay. Why were there people that looked like me? I looked at the front of the train and heard the cries of the babies and the 5 year olds laughing at one another. I heard the frustration of the 9 year old girl trying to draw on her iPad. In the middle of the train, I heard the happy tears of a 15-year-old girl getting into art school as I walked further and getting into art school. As I walked farther to the back of the train, I drifted closer to the back to see a 20-year-old adult starting her online art business. Okay, so you could describe the business here. So the business was as was as fascinating as a new piece of art or something like that. But then I think to myself, okay, well, that doesn't really describe what's going on here. Maybe I could add a simile to a different place, okay? So as I get to the last part of the train, I see a 70-year-old lady painting and sitting in a rocking chair. Ooh, that would be a good one to describe the rocking chair. The rocking chair was as old as a what? Okay, so the rocking chair was as old as a old mansion. No, what's really old? An old 100-year-old boat or 100-year-old house. Ooh, that's a good one. The rocking chair was as old as a 100-year-old house. Old for the old. Okay, so I again described that item. Okay, so you can do that again with an action. I just showed you how to do it with an item. Notice how I kind of went through and I saw where I could add a simile, but I really had to figure out, hey, that simile, that doesn't really fit what I'm trying to say to my reader. Okay, you really want to try to make your reading better and help your writer understand your writing better. Help your reader understand your writing better by what you add. Okay? So have a good